Good morning, students. Welcome to your English literature class. Today, we will start with the textbook reading of the poem Nine Gold Medals, written by David Roth. It is a very easy poem to understand. Moreover, the author has written it more like a story, so you will be at an ease in learning this poem. By the end of this video, you will be able to explain the meaning of difficult words as used in context of the poem. Explain all the stanzas in your own words. Understand the literary devices used in the poem. Before starting the poem, let us recapitulate the summary of the poem in brief. The poem Nine Gold Medals narrates an event where specially abled athletes came to participate in a 100-meter race. They had put in a lot of preparation and practice to compete in the Special Olympics. The last race was about to begin. Athletes took their positions and the race began. One of them was unable to run and fell on the track. He cried out in pain and other contestants rushed to help him. They lifted him to his feet. After that, they all walked hand in hand to the finishing line. They all were honored with gold medals to appreciate their spirit of empathy. Okay, students? Now, open your treasure trove books at page number 37. First, we'll start with the word meanings of stanza 1. And children, you need to write the meanings on your textbook with pen. So, the first word is athletes, means sports person. Building up, gearing up or preparing. Bronze, a mixture of two metals, copper and tin, that has a reddish brown color. Let's read stanza 1. The athletes had come from so many countries to run for the gold, for the silver and bronze. Many weeks and months in training, all building up to the games. So children, in this stanza, the poet is referring to an event where the athletes had gathered to participate. What was the event, students? Yes, the Special Olympics. But why the Olympics was special? Because it was meant for disabled person. Now, who are the disabled persons? Yes, those who are handicapped. The poet says the athletes from different nations gathered to run for the medals. Here, he has used the word to run, from which he has made it clear that the sports persons were there to take part in a race. He further says, they all had prepared themselves for the competition by undergoing trainings for weeks and months. Clear, students? Okay. Now, open your treasure trove workbooks at page number 146 for the stanza-wise explanation of the poem. Now, we'll read the explanation of first stanza. The poem refers to a Special Olympics meant for differently abled persons or disabled persons. The athletes from different countries came to participate in various sports events. They were fired with the longing to win a medal, gold, silver or bronze. They knew the competition had to be very tough, so they put in a lot of their time in preparation and training. Okay, students? Now, move on to the word meanings of stanza 2. Spectators, that means audience or viewers. Cheering means encouraging. Approaching means coming near. Now, we'll read stanza 2. All around the field, spectators
were gathered,
cheering on all the young women and men. Then the final event of the day was approaching. The last race about to begin.
Here in this stanza, the poet
refers to the scenario of the event. He says, there were the spectators all around who were cheering up for all the women and men, means the participants. He says that the final event of the day was coming near. Now, what was the final event? Yes, it was the race. And here the race means the 100-meter race. Now, look at your workbooks for the explanation. The spectators sitting all around the field were as enthusiastic and excited as the participants were. They cheered up the young athletes in every way. The final event of the day was about to begin. It was the last race, a 100-meter race. Okay, students? So let's move to the meanings of the difficult words used in stanza 3. The first word is
determined, which means
strongly focused on what one wants to do. Second, poised, with full concentration and balanced. Now we'll start reading stanza 3. The loudspeakers called out the names of the runners. The 100 meters the race to be run.
And 9 young athletes stood there determined
and poised for the sound of the gun. Here, in this stanza,
the poet says
that the names of the participants, the runners, were announced on the loudspeakers for the race. Now, which race is referred here, students? Yes, the 100 meters race.
And the 9 young athletes were standing at the starting point with full concentration and they were waiting for the alerting signal.
Clear, students? Okay. Come, let's read the explanation from the workbook. The loudspeakers announced the names of the participants of the 100-meter race. 9 young athletes came forward and stood at the starting line. They were determined to do their best. They were well poised, waiting for the alerting signal. Coming next to the word meanings of stanza 4. First word is exploded, which means burst with a loud noise. Stumbled, tripped, staggered, became unsteady or lost balance. Now children, we'll read the text of stanza 4. The signal was given, the pistol exploded, and so did the runners on hearing the sound. But the youngest among them
stumbled
and staggered, and he fell on his knees to the ground. In this stanza,
the poet says,
as soon as the pistol shot was heard, the runners started running.
Now, what does the pistol shot mean here?
Yes, it was the alerting signal for the participants. But the moment they started running, the youngest among them
stumbled
and staggered, means he tripped and lost his balance, and resultantly fell on the ground. So student, why he has lost his balance? Yes, because he was the weaker one and could not run. Now students, you might have noticed that in the third line of this stanza, that is, but the youngest among them stumbled and staggered, there is the repetition of the consonant sound S and G. Now, which figure of speech it refers to? Yes,
alliteration.
Alliteration means the close repetition of consonant sounds in a single line of a poem.
Here in the line, but the youngest among them stumbled and staggered, there is the repetition of consonant sound S and G. Now students, we'll read
the explanation of the stanza 4 in workbook. When the signal was given and the pistol shot was heard, the participants moved fast. They ran as fast as they could. However, one contestant who was weaker could not run. His legs gave in and he fell on the track.
Here gave in mean ceased working. Understood students?
Okay. Now let's understand the word meaning of stanza 5 of the poem. Frustration means hopelessness. Anguish means mental pain.
And agony.
Dashed in the dirt, that means came to nothing. Occurred means happened. Now coming to the reading of stanza 5.
He gave out a cry of frustration and anguish.
His dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt. But as sure as I'm standing here telling the story, now it's a strange one, but here's what occurred. Here in this stanza, he refers to the boy who had fallen down.
Poet says,
when that boy fell down, at the moment, he cried out in frustration and mental pain instead of physical pain. And student, why so? Because his dreams, his efforts, all came to nothing. All was finished for him.
Here the poet is pointing to a strange event
that occurred and surprised him. Now students, before revealing the strange event that has happened here, we'll have a look on the explanation. The fallen contestant was distressed beyond imagination. He gave out a cry in frustration because his hard work had come to nothing. His dream had remained a dream. Precisely at that moment, something unexpected and something surprising happened. Okay, students? So now we'll read the word meanings of stanza 6. Tracks means paths. Ones here means participants. Lad means boy. Compete means to try to get or win something.
Now, let's read stanza 6 of the poem.
The 8 other athletes stopped in their tracks. The ones who had trained for so long to compete, one by one they turned around and came back to help him and lifted the lad to his feet.
Here the poet
is unboxing the events that had occurred and which surprised him. He says, the moment the lad had fallen down, the 8 other athletes stopped running. They forgot for the moment that why they had come to compete. They forgot that they had given a lot of their time and efforts in the preparation to compete. They all one by one turned back to the boy who had fallen to help him and lifted him up to his feet. Understood, children? Okay. Now again, if you have noticed, there is a repetition of the consonant sound D and T in the line 4th of this stanza.
And lifted the lad to his feet. So here, what is used? Alliteration.
Let's move to the explanation of this stanza. The remaining 8 contestants stopped and looked back at their fallen companion. They were expected not to stop but continue the race, but they did what no competitor had ever done. One by one, they turned around and came back to the fallen athlete. They lifted him. Whom they lifted? Yes,
the fallen athlete, to his feet. This gesture of theirs was indeed praiseworthy.
Now, we have the word meanings of stanza 7. Joined hands means held each other's hand. Reduced, make smaller or lessen amount, degree, size.
The line from could not till mark means
Proved to be true to its work. Now, we'll read the stanza 7. Then all 9 runners joined hands and continued. The 100 meters reduced to a walk. And the banner above that said Special Olympics could not have been nearer the mark.
Here the poet says
that all the 9 sportspersons who were taking part in the race now joined their hands. That means they now held each other's hand
and started running towards the finishing line.
And because of that, the race had now turned into a mere walk, as no one was competing anymore. They all were portraying
the spirit of empathy
and true sportsmanship.
And the poet says that banner hanging above that read
Special Olympics turned out to be true, as the event turned into a really special Olympics. Students, here also, in the first line of the stanza,
alliteration is used. As in the line, then all 9 runners joined hands and continued, there is the repetition of the consonant sound N.
Okay, students? Let's shift to the explanation of stanza 7. Then all the 9 contestants joined hands.
They all walked hand in hand to the finishing line.
The race turned into a walk. The poet remarks that the words on the banner, Special Olympics, turned out to be true. Special Olympics was really a special one. Let's move to the word meanings of stanza 8. The race. The race here means 100-meter race.
The line from said till ever will means proclaimed more than what words would ever tell.
Let's read stanza 8 now. That's how the race ended with 9 gold medals. They came to the finish line holding hands still. And the banner above and 9 smiling faces
said more than these words ever will. Said more than these words ever will. Here the poet
refers to the ending of the race by saying that the participants
reached the finishing line holding hands.
And thus, all 9 were rewarded with gold medals
to appreciate their gesture of empathy.
And he says that the banner which said Special Olympics, along with the smiling faces of those runners,
had said more than these words will ever say.
Now students, have a glance at the explanation of stanza 8 in your workbooks. The race ended and each participant was awarded a gold medal. All were thus rewarded for a rare act of empathy.
Here, empathy means the ability to understand and share the feelings of another.
And the banner above and 9 smiling faces
said more than these words ever will. Said more than these words ever will.
Here the poet emphasizes the special significance of the Special Olympics by revealing the contestants' rare act of true sportsmanship. With this, we come to the end of the textbook reading of the poem.
Now students, do the homework given to you in your SNAP homework.
Thank you.